Hello and welcome to one of the integration videos. These are meant to be informative. One is significantly longer than the other, you should probably look at that. Also, this is very important, look at the timestamps, because sometimes we got off topic, of course. Sometimes, like, some questions will be irrelevant for you personally. There will be even some, at least for me personally, not lore drops, but drops about Epic War information in one of these. I think I can figure out which one of these. I have the same intro for both because they're both integration videos, and I got the brilliant idea of releasing them at the exact same time. And so here I give you one of the integration videos. Check the time lapses, very important, and enjoy.
You want me to mute and then unmute when you...
No, you can speak whenever you want to.
Alright.
Just say your name real quickly.
What, my real name?
Don't say your real name, or just say the name.
Xerney.
Yes. I want to call you Xerney, because, like, Chinese X, you know?
Yeah, well, it's like a Z, Z.
Z.
But, yeah, so like Xerney.
Xerney.
Yeah.
Xerney.
Yeah.
Alright. I want to say Xerney, though, because, like, Chinese, and it's funny to say it like that. Yes, so, the first question. I'm not going to say them in the order that I sent them. How would you describe how I act on Discord?
I'd say, like, you're pretty chill. Like, when you do chat, it's more informative than anything, I feel like.
Informative.
Yeah, I mean, there's been times where you've got your information and said or replied to someone's comment and either asked or given the information.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because I remember when you talked a lot and then you had the period where you didn't, and then
yeah, that's something we should mention actually. Like, how? Yeah, that's that question. Have I always been active on the Discord?
I feel like you've always been active or at least lurking. But there was a period where you didn't talk for a long time.
Yeah, there was pretty much a 1 year gap where I did nothing. Like, I barely checked on it. And then I tried to, like, gradually have it more and more. Or at first I tried to have it like, oh, I can do it a little, and I want to do it more, but I've ended up doing it almost nothing anyways, because I don't know. I just see, oh no, the Epic or Discord is going crazy again. Okay, skip. Okay, good.
Oh, that's like the opposite of Lasmelan. Lasmelan scrolls up and reads some new message.
Like, I've stopped scrolling. Like, I just see, oh, some messages on the Epic War. Okay, time to skip them. It's not. I don't think it's that good. Like, yeah, I should probably stop doing that. And then I see an image, and I'm like, oh, an image. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways, how much does the Epic War Discord server know about me?
Well, if we're talking about just knowing you from the Discord, obviously a lot of us older people probably know you more because you chatted more. But someone like Lulan, who I'm friends with, yeah, I've talked to him a lot. He probably doesn't know you as much as I do, or older people of the Discord like Lasmelan and stuff.
Yeah,
because he joined when you kind of stopped.
Yeah, but I was also thinking about, like, personal information. Like, how much personal information does the Epic War Discord know about me?
Oh, definitely. I feel like not really any. I mean, I think a lot of us didn't even know your voice until the videos.
Exactly. That's the thing. Knew very, very little about me, and the other Discord server also doesn't know a lot about me, but they definitely know more than you do. But I'm going to try to even it out so that both of you know, like, the same things roughly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of like that. I'm very protective over most things, though. I mean, some people know my real name. Some people know my real age. So.
Yeah. I know quite exactly where you live.
Oh, yeah?
Like, more specifically than just Britain.
I mean, but okay, if you don't actually, I'm curious.
Isn't it that I don't know what it's called, but there's like this quite big island just south of England.
I definitely do not live on an island. I live in England.
Oh, well then that must have been someone
Yeah,
else.
I mean, I don't live on like the Isle of Man or the Isle of Wight.
Yeah, I gotta bring up
Yeah,
a map
probably
of the
someone
UK
else.
now.
Yeah, I mean, we also have like the Falkland Islands and all kind of stuff.
Well, the Falkland Islands aren't part of the England, or they aren't
Well,
part of the
I
UK.
mean, yeah, I was gonna say this. They're owned by England,
It's the
but yeah, I
island
don't.
just south of Portsmouth.
Portsmouth. I actually don't know that.
Well, it's
Even I don't know that.
well, it's kind of big. That's what I'm thinking about it. And I thought someone told me that they lived there. Maybe it was you. Maybe it wasn't. Clearly, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I can't find a good resolution map. Or actually, it's the Isle of Wight. It's the Isle of Wight.
Oh, the Isle of Wight. Oh yeah, I've been there a few times.
But that is not where you live.
No.
I thought it was. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. I tell people that I live in England, but I don't think I've ever told anyone, even my oldest friends, exactly where I live.
Yeah, that's interesting. Um, moving on. This is the more Epic War Discord and Epic War questions now. How much the Epic War Discord server know about my channel?
Ooh, probably very little. Maybe Laz did, but I don't know.
Yeah,
um,
I'm not completely sure either, but I know that you didn't know. I know that Lass didn't know.
Mhm.
I think that, like, at most, 2 or 3 people knew.
Probably people who talk to you a lot in DMs or something.
Yeah, and I
So,
haven't spoken that much to many of you. And you know, there was the big pause, or whatever we should call it as well, where I also, like, I don't know what happened. Honestly, I don't know what happened, but I just became very distant from the Epic War Discord. But now I'm trying to move back to it.
yeah, I mean, a lot of things have changed and happened.
Yeah, I've
And
noticed
stuff.
that. So I'm still trying to understand some things, and I see that the rules are a lot more harsh now.
Well, that was because we had people coming in, like because I'll say the Discord is going like what over 1,000 people now.
It's
Well,
got way
since
more than 1,000.
since like you stopped talking, it's like over 1,000 more.
Aren't we about to hit 3,000?
Oh, we're over 3,000, I think.
Where do you see that?
Oh, I mean, obviously I'm technically admin, so I can see it through the server stats. Members, let me have a look. Oh no, not quite. We have 2,938.
Yeah, so
Close.
we're almost at 3,000.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we've done that. We've done that. What? Or we should probably get on to the more Epic War questions now. So what can you tell me about the beginning of Epic War, like the Epic War 1 and 2 era? Or, like, first off, what is Epic War? Just so we get that out of the way.
Okay, so Epic War is a strategy game where two armies fight each other and destroy each other's castles. If the castle gets to 0 HP, either win or lose. I'll say it like that because for the simple reason of if I say if you destroy the enemy's castle to 0, you win. If your castle gets destroyed to 0, then you lose. That's typically the gist of the games, but at the time when they came out, they were completely unique. There was no game like it. So even though it's such a simple concept, there was no game like it, which is why Epic War 1 and 2 had a lot of hype behind them.
We should probably just mention how many dimensions there are in the Epic War games.
2.
Yeah, it's a 2-dimensional game, so you just walk from side to side.
Yes. Especially in Epic War 1 and 2, where you just summon the units and they do the movement.
Yeah.
But I like Epic War 2 a lot. It's actually one of my favorites.
Yeah, I mean, every Epic War has its own moments and has its own charm, I would say.
Yeah.
So, what happened later, like 3 to 5 era? What can we say there?
So I think with Epic War 3, obviously it was the big change where not only was the map different, you just didn't go onto the level and then you play the level. Obviously in Epic War 3 you try and take over different kingdoms. I think there's eight characters fighting over the lands. And in that game, you don't necessarily start against easy armies, you start against harder armies.
Yeah.
But also in that game, you can control your units, but there was a limited amount. Whereas in Epic War 2 and 1, I don't think there was a unit limit.
No, I don't think there was.
I think you could just summon as much as you wanted.
With, their limited resources, of course, but there wasn't a unit cap.
Mm-hmm. Whereas in Epic War 3, 4 and 5, they all have a certain amount of, unit cap on each unit.
Yeah.
So I guess that's Epic War 3 summed up pretty good. Epic War 4 follows a similar concept to 3, but you now can control 3 heroes, 6 units. Obviously, we have spells as well. Spells, actually, I say that. Spells in 3 and 4 use the mana system now, and whereas 1 and 2 use mana for units. And obviously, there's a lot more spells in those games, and they're way more useful to use in those games than just units. And in 4, there's 3 difficulties, which is interesting. It's kind of like a 50-50. Some people very liked it. Some people like it's just extra game. But I like 4 a lot. It does also have a story, kind of. Last it's a pretty good story. I think 2's is better, but
Does 4 have a story?
Technically, it does. Yeah, it technically does because you have a start. You have a prologue, and then you obviously have an end.
But that's it. There's no is there anything in between?
I don't think so. I think the levels are named, but I don't think there's any story in between.
Yeah, I think Epic War 4. The story in Epic War 4 is just a big question mark, really.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. That's why I don't know why Laz thinks it's so good. I mean,
I think he talks about the Epic War 5 lore, actually.
Well, Epic War 5 lore is definitely the best.
It's the best written, I would say, but I don't know if it's the most compelling story.
I mean, all of them kind of end on cliffhangers.
Do they really? It's like,
I think so.
The weird thing, this is something I want to make a video about sometime, but the weird thing about the Epic War story and how the Epic War games look is that they're all so different.
Yeah.
The stories don't fit together at all.
Yeah, they don't. They definitely do not. I guess Epic War 2's and 3's, even though 3 doesn't really have a story to it, it's more just like each character has their own description. But 2's and 3's descriptions kind of make sense because in 2 you kill the Lord of Hell, and then all the evil's gone and people get peace. And I guess Epic War 3 is maybe a year later where all the kingdoms are fighting each other. So it kind of those 2 kind of make sense, but then after that it doesn't.
I've never seen it that way. I don't know. I feel like 3 barely has any story, where it's just a bunch of guys fighting. And the one character, the thing is, Viagroff specifically, he appears in, I think, every game after Epic War 3.
Yeah.
Maybe not Epic War 6, but I'm not sure about that. That one's special. We'll talk about that one later.
We're talking about Viagroff.
What?
Viagroff.
Yeah. Viagroff, I don't know how he's supposed to be pronounced.
He's the main character, he's in...
Yeah, but he didn't even appear in Epic War 1 or 2, but he consistently appeared in 3, 4, 5, and Saga. And the thing is, he's different every time. Like, his
Yeah,
behavior and how he acts, it's different every time.
yeah. It is a bit weird. 3's and 4's kind of make sense because in 3 he's younger. He looks younger than 4. Um,
He's just a warmonger in 3, and in 4 he's like the hero.
yeah. People speculate. There are some people that speculate that 2's human hero is Vigraph, but who knows?
2's human hero.
Yeah, because obviously at the end it says like the 3 heroes of each faction come to pieces or something like that. But we don't know who they are, so that's why people speculate who they are.
Wait, which... So there was the humans, the elves, and the orcs, right?
Yeah, and at the end of the episode 2 story, it says something about the heroes of them or something like that.
Viagraph could be the hero for the humans.
He could, but we don't know.
Who would the heroes be for the others? Would it be like Grimtooth or whatever his name is for the orcs?
It's definitely a possibility. Like the thing is, we don't know. We just like it's just in the story.
It's
that
pure.
3 heroes
It's pure
are there.
speculation
Yeah.
because there are no clues, right?
No. Yeah, I mean, 5 is an interesting story, I guess. When I say they all end on cliffhangers, if you think about it, Queen Etheria at the end accepts the offer from the Hell's Gate, and then we don't know what happens after that.
I don't think I know what the story is if you play as neither Viagraph or the Queen. I think I've only finished it as Skull Knight.
Yeah, well, Skull Knights is obviously he's looking for his master, and basically his story is endless.
He doesn't care, does he?
No.
He does. Does he even do anything with Hell's Gate, or does he just leave it and say, "I don't care"?
I think the Hell's Gate tries to convince Skull Knight that his master doesn't exist, but he doesn't care. he still thinks that his master does exist, and he just that's kind of how his story ends. He just endlessly tries to find his master. But the one thing from his story is that he doesn't care about anything but his master. He doesn't care about I say his allies. I guess we'll say allies in his units. He doesn't care about them. He doesn't care about, killing the Hell's Gate or whatever. Like that's not his goal. He's just traveling.
Yeah.
They just got in his way. That's kind of his thing. Like if anyone's in his way, he'll just kill them.
Yeah.
To find his master.
But I just got to thinking like the demon lord or whatever, the guy with the sword, like he has different names throughout the games. He appears in 2, 3, no, not 3, or does he appear in 3? I don't think he does.
The Lord of Hell, no.
But he does in 2, 4, and 5.
Yeah, and Saga, but
he's just a unit in Saga. He doesn't really matter in Saga, does he?
Well, he's technically a Cave of Trial. In the Cave of Trial, he is called Lord of Hell.
But the thing is, they don't match at all. Their stories in the games don't match at all.
Yes, I think Laz said that technically each one from each game is a different Lord of Hell. Because obviously in Epic War 4, he's not called the Lord of Hell. In Epic War 2, he is. In Epic War 4, he's called Tyrant Lord Baal.
That's a way to see it. But the thing is, I feel like the game's stories and like the direction and the ways the characters act, and I feel like it's all so different that we shouldn't consider them all to be in one and the same universe.
Definitely not. Laz did say that they are separate. They are different.
Especially Saga, because I'm far from an expert on Saga because you know how I see Saga, but Saga specifically feels like it retcons itself so many times. Does I'm not sure if it does, but I feel like it does. I feel like Viagraph appears several times, and he does different things every time and has different goals every time.
Yeah, it's kind of the same with Jack and Oni and
Every
I think,
single character in the game,
well, maybe not every single one, but
but almost every
Lucia.
single one. Like they have different goals every time they appear.
Yeah, the Saga so doesn't really make much sense, to
No,
be honest.
exactly. So maybe there's no point in trying to figure that one out.
That's probably why it's a side game, which I guess is a topic in itself. That
Yeah,
it's a side game and not a main game.
we should probably move on to the next question, which is Saga.
Yes.
What is Saga? Like, what can you tell me about Saga?
Saga is a side game, which I didn't know, I assume Art Logic wanted it to be like every character from every Epic War in a game where I don't know, they battle, because like I said, the story doesn't really make sense. Like, if
No.
you kill Vigraph comes later anyway, so doesn't really make much sense. But basically every character, well, I say most characters from Epic War are in Saga. And it's kind of just a long battling simulator
Yeah,
more than a story.
it's also like I'm not a big fan of Saga specifically because it's done in such a in at least in my opinion like mobile game style pay to win. At least that's the
Mm.
feeling I get from it.
Yeah, I'm probably one of the only people who like Saga, but that doesn't mean I like everything about
I
Saga.
wouldn't say only. I feel like Saga it's a bit like some people hate on Epic War 2. Some people hate on Epic War 3, mostly the veterans that like were playing in Epic
I
War
hate
2
Epic
era.
War 3.
What?
That's personal to me, but I hate Epic War 3.
Do you hate Epic War 3?
I do. For my tier list, Epic War 3 is below everything.
Really?
Yeah. But I said to Laz, if he makes Epic War 3 good, then I'll change my opinion. But right now it's below 1, and 1 should technically be the worst because it's the first. So there
And it's
wasn't
like
much going on.
the most like low tech and such.
Yeah.
So what about Epic War 3? This isn't a question that I made. Like, what about Epic War 3 makes it so bad in your opinion?
I mean, obviously, I love Epic War 4. Epic War 4 is my favorite overall.
Right?
And because of that, I think it's because Epic War 4 is so good that it obviously uses Epic War 3's assets. It uses its backgrounds, same art style.
Often, like many of the things do intertwine.
Yeah, like a lot of the units as well.
Yeah.
And to me, that's why I just discard Epic War 3. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the system of, the castles getting destroyed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I do like that. But because Epic War 4 is so similar to Epic War 3, but I think it's just better.
You feel like it's a worse version of Epic War 4, essentially.
Yeah, and I feel like it needs to have differences. It needs to have its own, maybe some new background, maybe some different approaches to some battles, stuff like that to make it a bit unique.
My problem with Epic War 3 is that to finish the game completely, you need to do the New Game Plus games,
Yes.
and they are just horrendous. Like it's
Yes.
the same thing you do over and over, and there's barely any difference whatsoever.
Even though I hate Epic War 3, I did do that once.
Yeah.
I did play every single character to get everything.
Yeah. And it's just annoying. It just takes time. It's not fun to just do the same campaign essentially over and over again.
Yeah.
This would be fixed if there were bigger differences between the characters.
Yes.
If there were like proper differences, and that's probably one of the reasons why I haven't played. Why I've only finished at Skull Knight in Epic War 5 as well. Like they're so similar. There's barely any difference. The only difference in how you play, at least in my opinion, the different characters in Epic War 5 is right in the like first, at most 5 stages.
Yeah. I feel like each character should have like an ability, which first of all would make it different from any other Epic War. But second, they all have descriptions different from each other. Like Grimtooth is from the underworld, so maybe he should get some kind of summon ability. I don't know. Vigraph is a standard hero. He's trying to take back his kingdom, I think, from Turquoise, or whatever his name is. But that guy is basically on war. His whole thing is war, so maybe he has an ability where he can make his units faster for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, like Call to War,
make it,
Call of Arms, or Call to Arms or something.
yeah, make it unique compared to the other Epic Wars. You give them something that fits their description and make it a war game, because that's what Epic War 3 is. It's a war between kingdoms.
Exactly. To make Epic War to expand on the entire war idea of Epic War 3 would be very, very cool.
Yeah, that's what I mean about Epic War 3. That's why I discard Epic War 3 at the moment, because it doesn't really have anything unique, really.
Well, it has the castle system, but it's just poorly made.
Yeah, that's the only thing I like about Epic War 3, to be honest.
That did you answer how Saga was?
I mean, I kind of said that it's basically a fighting, not fighting, action simulator. Like you just battle over and over
it
again.
feels like it's also more fast paced than other Epic War games.
Yeah, I don't mind that too much. I don't mind the faster pace because there's a lot of battles in Saga. So
yeah. But I mean, I feel like it's designed very differently from all the other Epic War games. But it is a side game, to be fair. So
yeah, it's just a weird game. It in terms of like remakes, I guess maybe that's a bit too far, but I feel like a lot of things would need to change about Saga. A lot.
Yeah. And I think it mentioned that Saga was like the one. Or I think Lasse said that Saga is the one game that you can change the most, and thereby it will come later than the others.
Yes, obviously I'm in the Epic War team, and me and Laz and Pantalion have all chatted about keeping Saga last because we know what we're gonna do for the 5 games, or have an idea for them.
Yeah.
Obviously, we take ideas from people as well. If they have a good suggestion, Laz might consider it. I won't talk too much because of my agreement, but
yeah, of course.
But we have a general idea for the 5 games, but Saga, it's just so random that it's kind of hard to do anything at the moment. Which is why I was saying for the Q&A that people shouldn't really ask about Saga because we don't really know.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Moving on from Saga to Epic War Legends. What can you tell us, if anything, about Epic War Legends?
So obviously, me and you had the smallest conversation ever about Legends.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Legends. I know it's a mobile game. I know it's a card collecting kind of game, and I know that it has actually pretty good artwork.
Yeah, I've seen some images from it, and it looks incredible. Really, it's just that we don't know how the gameplay looks. We don't know anything about the game other than it is a strange card game, which is also centered around Epic War games with very good artwork, and it is lost to time.
I know that it has a map and levels because I think so because I think Tastes sent that in the Discord once as a screenshot from the game, so I think it does have that. But yeah, I don't know much about it. I don't really play mobile games myself, so
yeah.
I do like card games though.
Well, we have to mention that it exists, and I think it's good to mention that it's one of the games that is kind of lost in a sense.
Yes, we do not own it though. So we obviously Laz bought the rights to basically all Epic Wars, but Legends has different rights, so we do not own Legends.
Exactly,
and Legends will stay as it is.
We're getting to that point later about what Laz did. So then finally, the last Epic War game, which I've also mentioned briefly during this recording, Epic War 6. What is so special about Epic War 6?
Epic War 6 is controversial. Obviously, we say it doesn't exist anymore. Technically, it still does. But Epic War 6 was made with Unity instead of Flash. So it could have much more capabilities than Flash does. Now, I've actually beat Epic War 6.
You did?
When it was on Congregate, I did beat the game. So
I never got that far. I played a little bit, and I was like, why did they make a worse game? Or something. I was really annoyed with the entire pay-to-win aspect, because that's one of the controversial things with it. It is way more pay-to-win than what Saga is. You need to buy certain units
items.
you need to like. How does it even work? I think you need to pay in-game cash to summon certain units, like that saves throughout your file. It's a weird situation.
So, okay, here's the thing. A lot of people in the Discord have been talking about it, but it's saying it's pay to win. It is, but what you got to remember is when it was on Kong, when people played it on Kong, PvP gave you the currency to buy the Titans. But obviously, PvP doesn't work anymore. So, the only way to get the Titans is if you pay to win.
So that
Obviously, you can't do it now because if you do that, you would just lose your money. But
so now it's essentially broken as well. It's kind of lost and it's broken.
yeah, so when it kind of like lost its service for PvP, the only way to get Titans was to pay to win. But at the time, you could just do PvP and get the currency for it, and that's what I did. That's what I did to beat the game.
Yeah, in
I
the
needed
beginning,
Titans, and I PvP'd.
when I did play it, I did also. I think I don't remember any PvP aspects, but I do remember that I didn't have to pay like real money for the Titans. However, the way the Titans worked really bothered me. Like I would preferred if they had like Epic War 4 style, Epic War 5 style. Like I hadn't played Epic War 2 at the time, but maybe even Epic War 2 style, because like it's a mana that regenerates during the battle. But to have it like as a separate currency, I did not like that.
Yeah, I don't either. And there is actually a glitch in the game that allows you to get unlimited Diablos. Oh, sorry, in Epic 6 it's called Triadon. Um,
It has a different name every time.
yeah, and for some reason in 6 they changed its name to Triadon, even though in Epic 3, 4, 5, and Saga it's called
Not in 5.
Diablos.
Not in 5. It's called
Oh yeah,
Earth
5.
Dragon in 5.
Oh well, I
And
mean,
but I think it's. I'm going to be honest, which it's not a very fun answer, but I think that the reason that they changed the Diablos name is because of copyright reasons. Because
yeah, Monster
Diablos,
Hunter.
yeah, exactly. Diablos is directly ripped from Monster Hunter.
Yes, I do believe so too. But there was a glitch in Saga where you could get unlimited Triadon. And it was by having another Titan and use. I think you have to use the Titan and do some weird thing, and you'd just have unlimited Triadon. Um, and also Epic War 6 had no security like Saga does. You could just hack in the premium currency. You could just hack in whatever you wanted, really. Uh,
It was a mess, and we should probably also mention that it is one of the games that is also lost to time. It's
yeah.
it's just you can't get your hands on it properly these
Well,
days.
the only version that we know that kind of works, sometimes it crashes, sometimes it breaks, is the one that Taste found. But it's first of all, it's not the released version. It's kind of a weird. It's a weird released version. It's like a glitched version.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a strange situation, really.
yes.
Epic War 6 and Epic War Legends are both like they're the two lost games out of the 8 games actually. There should be 8 Epic War games, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Saga and Legends.
Yes. The one thing I will say about 6 is the reason why I completed it because of the battles. The battles were actually hard. When I say hard, I mean like they were actually challenges. They weren't just the normal battles. Some levels had 2 castles that you had to defend.
Oh,
Some levels had 2 enemy castles, and you were in the middle, so you had to go both ways. And then obviously some levels have bosses in front of the castle. We had to kill them first before the castle, and stuff like that. That's what made it interesting, and I hope that we use those ideas in the remakes, and maybe not for the actual, Epic War 1 to 5, but maybe Saga could use it, and maybe
7.
and yeah, maybe a new game. Who knows?
Exactly. It's also good to mention that in the possibility that there is a new game, it's usually referred to as Epic War 7.
Yeah. Because we want to forget about 6. 6 technically exists, and there was
Exactly.
stuff on the internet about 6 still.
You
So,
can't name the new game 6 if there already is a 6.
yeah.
Or was technically.
I will say this, Laz has mentioned this publicly, so I can say this. He doesn't really have the assets from 6. He has very, very low quality assets that have been given to him, and he doesn't have many of them. So we can't really use any of Epic War 6's assets.
Yeah, I think one of the things he has mentioned about Epic Wars 6 is that he has many assets. However, they are like separated. And there are no animations or everything. He just has the separate images. And if you know how the Epic War games work, you know that like each unit is a bunch of images put together.
Yeah.
And like you animate the images, and they're all separated in the Epic War 6 case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and here's a little bit of a secret for you.
That I can upload.
Yeah, in the remake, because I've said it already, and that's it's fine with it. In the remakes, I did basically most of the animations. Most of them. I didn't do them all because I won't discredit. But I did do a lot of them.
The remake animations.
Yes, for the remakes. The remakes of the games. I did a lot of the animations.
See, that's
I'm
interesting.
not going to say what because that would be.
Yeah. But I just want to examine your hint there. That's interesting because I was not sure that there were going to be new animations. I thought that the old animations were going to persist and that they were just, because of the new engine and such, going to be quicker, so the entire games and such would like work in a quicker sense, But yeah, that's very interesting.
Well, actually, that's kind of why I had to redo all the old animations. So yeah, obviously, when we remade the game, we couldn't just copy over the animations. We had to actually do them. So, but obviously, because the game is technically faster because of the engine and the FPS, it's better. I had to redo the existing animations.
So they're smoother.
Yeah, exactly.
And there are no like changed animations, so that the goblins jump around like crazy now, or the goblins walk on 2 legs.
I'll say, how do I say this without breaking my agreement?
You can't answer that.
They are not like 500 frames. That's what I'll say.
So you can't give much information about that.
No, I can say that I did a lot of the animations to the games, and I can say that they are like not 500 frames like the Flash versions. I can't really say if something's changed or something's new because that would be breaking my agreement.
Right. So a bit of a no comment there, I suppose.
I guess, yeah.
And moving on to the agreements, that was a semi-good. This video is going to be so bloody long. What did Last do that was so special about 2 years ago?
Yeah, so Laz just randomly.
Yeah, it was very random, wasn't it?
Yeah, he purchased every Epic War, actually including Epic War 6. But obviously, because we don't have stuff for 6, we kind of just don't. We just forget about. But technically, we don't. We do own the rights to 6. So yeah, he just randomly purchased it. I don't remember for how much, but I think it was like 2,000 to 3,000. I think.
Really?
I think so. Yeah, I know he said something like that. I believe.
I didn't remember that he ever gave a number. I just remember that he said it. Oh, it wasn't that much.
Oh, I think he might have told me in the end. I don't know, but
well, that's another leaked information.
I don't know. I know that he said I remember him not saying he didn't pay that much, but I think it was like 2,000 to 3,000. But I'm not sure.
All right. Well, yes. The entire idea with the question is that he bought the rights. The rights have changed owners, and you are rebooting the games.
Yeah. Obviously, Wyrdean was in our team. Which, actually, I don't know if you know, but Wyrdean left because of their own problems, which we don't talk about. So they left, unfortunately. And no, to anyone that thinks we kicked them off, we did not. They left on their own terms.
Right.
So now it's obviously just me, Lasmelan, and Pantalion. If you don't know, Pantalion was an actual art logic designer
Yeah, I think
You know.
I think I've got that quite recently, actually. Like since I've come back, um, I didn't know that she was. Is it a she? I don't know.
We don't know. We just call it Pantalion. We just say Pantalion all day.
So no one knows.
No,
Well, that's brilliant. I've always wondered, like, is it a he or is it a she? Oh, but that's brilliant. You don't know either.
no one knows. I don't think even Laz knows. So
That's great. um, yeah. So you're three people. Last, who is like the leader, I suppose.
yeah, well,
You
he owns the rights, so he is project leader. You could say.
and he is also a programmer.
Yes,
And then there's you, who is also a programmer
I am. Yeah.
and apparently animator.
Yeah, apparently, well, even though I'm listed as only programmer, I think I've done more of the animation side and design side more than.
So we could call you part of the art department of the Epic War team.
Yeah, well, you see, Laz likes to do all the programming, so we just leave him to it because he is a programmer. His real job was a programmer, so we just leave him to do it.
Right, and you do the animating.
Yeah, I say like mostly animation.
And how do you Pantalion?
Pantalion.
Pantalion.
Yeah.
What does Pantalion do?
Oh, I don't know if Pantalion's ever said this publicly, so
So you don't know if you can say it either.
I don't know if I can say what Pantalion does. Let me see if it's. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see the Discord of what Pantalion's labeled under.
Yeah, I can say what I think that Pantalion has said. I think that it's been like, oh, I don't do the programming. I just tell them what they're supposed to do. That kind of stuff is what I've heard from Pantalion themselves. Um,
Oh, yeah. Well, I can say that Pantalion definitely does not do programming. Me and Pantalion have taught in DMs, and we, you know, Pantalion wants nothing to do with programming. So Pantalion doesn't do any programming. I mean, I could do some programming, but I haven't because Lars has just done it all. He's yeah.
so that's the team, and that those are your assignments, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Lars just he normally just DMs me and says, "Can you do something?" And I was like, "Okay."
Right.
So
Yeah, there's also the, at least like I want to make that a thing, like the endless question, just like how Epic War 6, and that's a reference, like how it is lost to time. I also want to make like a reference to how you never have an artist in your team. Like that's a thing that you the never-ending question of when will you get your artist and such.
yeah, I think Lars might have said a bit on this. Like he said, it's kind of hard to find an artist that can do it in Epic War style because obviously Epic War, if you don't know, was originally hand drawn and then put on a
Whoa,
PC.
whoa.
So it's kind of hard to match that art, and because of that, we don't really have an artist. And I think Laz has even said in his Q and A's and stuff that it's very hard for us to add fully new units or fully new backgrounds and stuff because we can't really replicate the art that well at the moment.
Exactly.
So
However, I do think it is, if you make an Epic War 7, or I want to say when you make an Epic War 7, because I truly believe that you will someday. Um, I guess you can't really comment on it, but I will just throw that out there. Um, when you make Epic War 7, I think that you are well within your right to make completely new art for it and make it in a new art style, because if we look at the art style of the games, Epic War 1, 2, 1 and 2 are different. 3, 4 are the same, but they're different from all the others. 5 is different. Saga is different. 6 is very different. And like this, they don't really have a concrete Epic War style. There is a 3 and 4 style. There is a 2 style. There is a Saga style, but there isn't a concrete Epic War style, I don't think. So you can
yeah,
make kind of whatever you want in terms of style in Epic War 7.
I guess that is true. And Laz, I guess if Laz sees this, then
He probably will. My guess is he probably will.
Yeah. Well, Laz, that's a great point. Just making new art stuff.
Yeah,
If we do 7.
yeah, you can. Like,
So,
I'm just saying that you don't have a specific art style to follow necessarily in Epic Wars 7.
yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, in terms of like a new game, I don't think we've actually even considered it at the moment. So, but if there is, we
No,
might do that.
yeah, but it's the kind of thing that it's so far in the future that you don't have to think about it yet.
That is true.
And
Yeah.
it's also a very small team which has absolutely no financial support yet because you haven't released any games yet, and so on and so forth, you know.
Yeah. Obviously, I think Laz, Laz has definitely said this publicly. You know, we kind of came together to do it as a hobby, not as a
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
So we have our free time. We have our other work that we need to do. You know, I don't know what Pantalion's other work is, but I'm assuming that they have life things as well.
Somehow they're the most mysterious person on the entire Epic War Discord.
Yeah, except for Dextercy, but yeah, I know that Laz. I mean, me and Laz are the same age, so he's probably similar to me. Obviously, he's in America though, so who knows what it's like in America?
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know.
No, I mean, I haven't lived there either. Finally, what does the Epic War community occupy themselves with these days?
Oh, there's a lot of things, you know. Obviously, there's mods. Obviously, my mod is quite big. You know, I've got Scorpion, Shade, even Laz played it, and they uploaded videos about it or streams or whatever.
I'm just saying that I might. I'm not a big mod guy, but I might.
Yes, my mod isn't easy, but it's not hard in terms of Saga hard, where it just takes forever.
You just have to
But
know what to do, I guess.
yeah, you know, there's a few challenges as well where you know you might have to like pull back your units a bit and then go forward and stuff like that.
Yeah, because that's the thing. You mentioned like how you can control your units in 3, 4, and 5. At least in my experience, I think never have to do that really. Like
Yeah,
it's just like that one trial in Epic War 4 where it's the Lord of Hell or whatever his name is.
yeah, where you just send in Inferno. That's it. Really.
Well, that's not what I did, but still, like you use time stop and whatever to. I try to use fast units to kill them, and sometimes that worked, sometimes that didn't. And you know, I tried to use time stop and whatever. Anyways, I think that was the last question. One last question that I came up with when we were talking about how this is your hobby and not your work. Would you want this to be your job? Like personally?
This is like a real life question. So I mean, I've modded for like 9 years now. I'm always very interested in how games work, and you know, doing my own games and stuff.
Yeah.
But for job wise, you see, for me personally, I love just doing my own things or being in teams. I don't mind if they're small teams or big teams, though I prefer smaller teams. Not because it's harder, because it is. It definitely is harder in a smaller team, but it's more chill. That you don't get time gated. If you don't know what that means, it basically means you don't have a time limit.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. It isn't the same kind of pressure on you.
Yeah, so in terms of a job, yes, I love making games. Funny fact, I am working on my own game, but we don't talk about that because this is Epic War.
Yeah.
But and you know, I do love making games. I definitely want it as a job because I've always wanted that. Either that be by myself or be with you know the Epic War team. I probably will stick with the Epic War team, but I also want to make my own games. I said this to Laz in a DM. I said I love being with the Epic War team and working on the Epic War games, but I also want to make my own games and do my own thing. So
Yeah, I feel
probably
like
do that.
at least with how the Epic War team works now, that is definitely possible. Um, I'm just saying that my first thought is that there is a possibility that that is threatened if the Epic War team expands and becomes, a big team.
Possibly, though. I mean, it's kind of. I don't know.
But I mean,
I don't know.
if you think of it as like this, the Epic War team is your job and your own game is your hobby, then that would definitely work.
Oh yeah, I mean, doing my own games is definitely a hobby. I wouldn't say making my own games is a job, though I would like to spend quite a bit of time on them because games take forever. Even big companies with 200 people, they take years to make games. So, making
Yeah.
my own game as a hobby, I mean, I do that anyway. So,
Yeah, the
yeah,
Epic
and
War
then
team doesn't
obviously,
really obstruct that.
no, like for me, I get priorities. I prioritize things as soon as I get them. So when I joined the People team, the priority of that was very high. Just under university, because obviously I still have university. Not right now because it's summer, but I still have a year of university left. So that's my highest priority of university. Then
Right?
under that, I have real work, and when I say real work, I mean like I have a job in real life.
Yeah.
I also have that. So that and Epic War team stuff is on the same scale because I only work weekends. And then under that is my hobbies. So my own projects. That's kind of how I prioritize. Like if Laz asked me to do something like in like 5 minutes, I would probably focus more on that than anything else at the moment because I don't have uni at the moment. So yeah.
Well, thank you for your answers and your participation.
Yes, it's quite weird. I feel like I'm on a podcast.
Yeah, it is like a podcast. In many ways, it kind of is. To be fair.
Yeah, I mean, I asked Laz to join in with the Q&As for his stuff, but obviously I didn't have questions. I didn't have answers for a lot of the things because Laz has his own answers. He even has answers that we don't know.
Yeah, I figured, but you clearly, as I've very clearly noticed during this, you do also know things that you cannot tell us.
Of course, I mean, obviously there's a development Discord for me, Laz, and Pantalion where we have everything. So there's a lot of things I know, and there's a lot of things I cannot say because obviously I have an NDA, which is, you don't know, no disclosure agreement.
Yeah.
That's the agreement I'm with. And even though me, Laz, and Pantalion were all friends, you still have to abide to the agreement.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm only saying stuff that Laz has allowed me to say, or I said publicly, and Laz is fine with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there have been some little hints and new information, but it's definitely nothing groundbreaking.
No. I mean, Laz has probably revealed more than me.
Yeah,
be honest.
definitely.
Though Laz can do that because he's the owner. If he thinks that something's not going to reveal too much, then he will reveal it. He has the Epic War 2 trailer on his channel for the remakes. So
It's kind of weird. Like, to be honest, like, I don't know what you can comment on it, but it's, at least to me, as an outsider, it's kind of weird that we have one trailer so far, and it's for Epic War 2. Out of all the games, it is for Epic War 2.
I will say, in the stream that he did of my mod, the first episode of it, he did reveal some stuff for Epic War 3 that he worked on. Not very much, but there is a little bit. So if you haven't seen that, definitely go watch it because it's not its own video. It's not its own like this title or anything. It's a part of the first episode of my mod that he did at the beginning of the stream.
I definitely have to go check that out now.
Yeah, somewhere near the beginning. I think Shade might have actually uploaded the Epic War 3 part on his channel though. I think he took the part from Laz's stream and uploaded that as a video. So that might be easier.
I definitely have to look that up.
Yeah. So there is that. There's the 2 biggest hints of the games from Laz.
Well, and then there are of course the Q&As, which reveal quite a bit. And on Discord he also is, and like, he may drop a few little hints here and there.
Yeah, I mean, I've had my few hints, but I don't really say much because, well,
Yeah, I get that.
yeah.
Well,
So
once again, this is a very common for my channel. I think you'll get to know that. Once again, thank you for the second time for your participation and your answers and your little, tiny little hints.
yeah, it's kind of weird. You know, I've done YouTube and Twitch for a long time, but I stopped. So
Yeah,
it's
well,
kind of weird going
I
back.
did look up your YouTube, and I don't know if you ever did YouTube. You have like 8 videos.
I privated like 40 videos.
Yeah,
Uh,
I can kind of relate to that. I did have like I kind of rebooted my channel once, and don't just a fair warning, don't watch my old videos because they are so bad. It's not worth watching
yeah,
unless you find it funny because they're bad. Um, like I'd say like videos that are about 1 year old, a bit more maybe. They are the ones to watch.
yeah. I'm assuming you're going to put the link in the description. So if you haven't joined up it with Discord, join it. Even if you don't know what it is, join it.
Absolutely.
Man,
Now you know what it is.
you
I
join the community.
Yeah, exactly. Join the community of Epic War and support. Let's make this like emotional. Support Xerney's dream job.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Play
Uh,
my mod. There you go.
well, there we go. I think we can wrap it up there.
Yes, it was fun.
It was fun actually. It did be fun. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
So thank you.
Yes, no problem.
I'll I'll, uh, I'll end the call before the recording.
Okay.
It says koppla från on my screen. It says streamarläge är aktiverat. Håll dig säker kompis. That's what it actually says on my screen. It can also say tysta and slå på kamera.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the good stuff. I'm gonna press koppla från now.
Okay.
Goodbye.
See you.